Hey everyone, and I hope you're having a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this. Obviously for me, and it's nighttime, and it's currently 11:44 p.m., so it will be March 6th, I want to say I don't know how long. I am not good with math at all, so yeah. Anyway, so I hope you guys have loved my beginning of my videos again. I promise you I will stop deleting my videos and then reposting them. It's just that I thought I was missing something, and I think I still am, but I'm trying to find a way to add them without deleting my videos. If anybody has any software ideas that I can edit my videos, please let me know in the comments below, and let's get started. Salem, Massachusetts, home of the Salem witch trials, is a major destination for ghost hunters and the periods. The witch trials will forever go down in history as one of the major politics that caused old America to take an inventory of its actions, resulting in 19 completely unnecessary deaths. The Salem witch trials is the result of nothing more than mass hysteria running amok. Those accused and convinced of witchcraft in Salem were tortured and ridiculed, with most being executed by hanging. The majority of the corpses were dumped around the old Burying Point Cemetery, laid out in 1637. The old Burying Point Cemetery not only is one of the oldest cemeteries in Salem, but the United States as well. Also known as the Sauter Street Cemetery, it is the final resting place of many of Salem's most notable residences. Originally called the Salem Street Burial Ground, it was a private cemetery of the Wayne family, acquired by the town of Medford in May of 1717. As evidence of just how old this place is, the earliest headstone dated 1683, with the latest marked 1881. The cemetery and its surrounding area was settled on plantation that was then owned by the Matthew Cranach, the first governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony. For 45 years, the land was used of a private farm and plantations. Then, land second owner Edward Collins broke the land up into smaller tracts and sold them individually. Among those who purchased the land were the families of Tucks, Bradshaw, Mills, Waynes, Brooks, Francis, and Wilmore, who became the founders of the town of Medford. When he died in 1689, he left the estate to his son Dudley, and it included a plot of land that Jonathan referred to as that little pasture called the Burying Place. By 1717, the Wayne family plot had become the town's burial ground. Records show that some 600 people are buried there, and yet only 485 markers to be found. There are several reasons known to account for this disciplinary. Firstly, at the time of the 17th century, it was a common practice to use one gravestone to show where an entire family is buried. The Wayne family, for example, has a marker that consists of 4 of its family members. Secondly, there are numerous relative Revolutionary War soldiers laid to rest at Old Marion Point, many of whom are unknown. A large flagpole with a granite marker commemorates the fallen soldiers. And lastly, records further show that there are more than 500 slaves buried at the cemetery as well. During these sad, unjust times, it was common to decline a headstone for a slave. For the most part, the majority of the markers at Old Marion Point are headstones, but there are some that have uncontroversial shapes to them. Most of these headstones seem to be made of granite. Several notable figures are buried at Old Marion Point. Among them are Massachusetts Governor and Revolutionary War figure John Brooks, Sarah Bradley Flipson, a Revolutionary War heroine. John Hathorne, one of the most influential and hated judges of the Salem witch trials. Also at Old Marion Point Cemetery is Bartholomew Zedny, another judge of the Salem witch trials, and a physician by Professor Mary Corey, the second wife of Giles Morey, who was executed by Judge Hathorne during the witch trials. Eleanor Hollingworth, a mother of Mary English and a mother-in-law of Philip English, one of Salem's richest merchants, is buried at the cemetery as well, along with Eleanor's son and Mary English's brother William Hollingworth. One grave found here on those of Samuel Shattuck, a felt and hat maker, and his grandson Samuel Shattuck Jr. It is believed that the Reverend Nicholas Noyes, who was a minister during the Salem witch trials, is buried in the Old Marion Point Cemetery, although his grave is unmarked. Simon Bradstreet, the last governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony, is also said to lay to rest here. Also found buried at the Marion Point Cemetery is Mary Higgins, the second wife of Salem Reverend John Higgins, as well as Nathaniel Mather, whose father was Reverend Increase Mather, along with the wife of John Callahan, identified as only Mrs. Callahan. And if I pronounce any of these names wrong, I apologize. Given his cruelty towards those he had hung, it's no wonder why many visitors of the Old Marion Cemetery claim to have captured ghosts of John Hathorne in photographs taken at his grave. This guy had positively no remorse for the innocent folks he accused of witchcraft, which even included a 4-year-old girl. If anyone is cursed to wander aimlessly around their burial site, it is Judge Hathorne. Of course, shortly thereafter, they were usually executed for doing so. Totally unfair circumstances that only serve to show how far we come since these terrible times in our young nation's life and history. It's need mentioning, however, that these practices were completely legal and legitimate at these times, due to the fact that it was considered unlawful and unlucky to touch the corpse of a witch. Their deceased bodies were unceremonially dumped around the grounds of Old Marion Point, therefore did not get a proper burial. It is believed that the lost spirits of these poor souls shows up at the cemetery, as there have been multiple reports of voices, strange anomalies, or odd orbs of light, and sudden drops in temperature while walking through the grounds. History behind the Old Marion Point Cemetery is mild and detailed, most of it admittedly rather morbid, but perhaps these facts are what make most hunters drawn to it. It is the final resting place of many who were involved in the Salem witch trials. That alone would lend credence to its hauntings, but it ties into the Revolutionary War, further help live its haunting history. Wait. Some 6,800 Americans who were killed during the war alone, with an additional 17,000 believed to have been killed from diseases during this time. Since some of these dead are buried at Old Marion Point Cemetery, it's a little to wonder as to why these burial grounds are considered one of the most haunted places in Salem, Massachusetts. It's even more frightening knowing that many of those dead here have never been identified, as burial methods were rather crude and thoughtless back in those days. It's certainly possible that as technology progresses, we might be able to help fix that. The bodies of those witches were cruelly dumped so many years ago will never be identified, as time has more likely long since eliminated any chance of that. However, learn from our mistakes to ensure that travelers and like the Salem witch trial never happen again. It's important to educate each generation with what happened in our nation's darker days, so we have a foundation on which we can build to become better. As sad as it is to think we once savagely murdered innocent people because we didn't understand them, these events had to happen as we grew and adapted with the changing times. What we once considered normal practice, burying witches at the stake, is now absolutely absurd to even think about. But throughout all the heartache that came with the witch trials, we can have some bittersweet solace in knowing that the dastardly John Hawthorne seems to have been cursed to wander alongside some of the very people that he put to death. He was clearly one of the only served to abuse his given power. And if some of those witches are haunting the grounds of Old Marion Point Cemetery, perhaps the reason for doing so is to forever torment the killer John Hawthorne. Thank you guys for watching my videos. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, Hunting Girl will spook you later. Until next time, sleep tight.